I think the most important gap that the World Future Council needs to address is the lack of long-term thinking in the governments of the world and the large corporations, but particularly the governments, about how we're going to ensure a decent world for future generations, a democratic world, a resource-rich world with still lots of species in it, and so on. Democracy is a great system of government, but it tends towards short-termism because everybody's running for election all the time. And intrinsically, people tend to think short-term. We're not very good at long-term thinking, so we need to find ways to build the long-term perspective into the process as we make policies and decisions as nations, societies, corporations, global institutions. And I think there is a really useful role for the World Future Council to play, working out how to do that. The idea I've liked best in the discussions we've had here in Geneva is to begin by creating what I'm calling in my mind a World Future Index, where we take the sort of key values that we'd like to see in a world for future generations, the sorts of things I just mentioned, resources, democracy, peace, etc., and come up with indicators for measuring how government policy in each country is doing in terms of advancing those values, and put it together in a World Future Index that gives you an overall picture of how each government is doing on respect for future generations, and then producing a ranking, rather like the Transparency International ranking or the Human Development Index, where people can see how their government's doing compared to others. So that would be a first step. And then when we see how badly everybody's doing, when we come to the next step, which is helping them to find ways to build the rights of future generations more strongly into policymaking. Well, I think my particular contribution has to do with the people I work with, who are members of Parliament and members of Congress around the world. They're a key entry point for new ideas and new thinking. They themselves should be finding ways to focus more on the rights of future generations in their policy making. And the organization that I'm helping to develop right now, the e-Parliament, can be a channel for ideas generated by the World Future Council to find their way into the policy-making process. We could even be a collaborator or co-sponsor in producing a World Future Index if the World Future Council decides to go that route.